All right, good evening, Amir. Hope you're doing well today, mate, and thanks for requesting your free Google ranking audit. My name is Brady Hughes, and I'm the co-founder of our local-based marketing agency based up in Far North Queensland called FlowRise. And essentially what we do at FlowRise is we work alongside all types of local companies across Australia to get businesses ranked right at the top of the local Google Maps search results. So you requested your audit yesterday, I believe. So in this quick audit, I'm going to outline a few things for you. I'm going to outline where you're currently ranking for your key search term, like chauffeur in Melbourne or chauffeur service in Melbourne. I'm going to outline who's currently beating you. I'll also give you 3 actionable steps that you can take today. Super simple stuff that can improve your rankings. It's not necessarily going to guarantee to get you into the top 3 or anything, but it's going to improve your rankings. And then I'll also explain at the end of the video exactly how we do this for other companies and exactly what we can guarantee for you and the pricing and all of that stuff as well. So before I get into all that stuff, I just want to outline the importance of ranking in the top 3 in Google. So you may be wondering why it's so important to rank in the top 3. And the reason for that is because that's where all the money is made, right? So about 75% of your potential customers are going to be clicking on one of the businesses in the top 3 when they're searching up chauffeur in Melbourne or any service in particular, right? So if I was a potential customer of yours and I was searching up chauffeur in Melbourne or chauffeur service in Melbourne, then Google Maps always shows me the top 3 organic rankings, all right? Disregard this first one here. That's a sponsored post. That means they're running Google ads. They're spending money on paid advertising, but organically. So for the businesses that are not running the Google ads, it always shows the top 3 organic rankings, right? So that's why you want to be in this top 3 because this is the top 3 map pack. And like I said, about 75% plus of your potential customers are going to be clicking, calling, inquiring on one of these businesses before they even bother even scrolling down below and checking out the businesses that are ranked below. Right. So now that you know the importance of ranking the top 3, I want to outline where you're currently ranking. So obviously you're not ranked in the top 3 at all for chauffeur in Melbourne. So your company name is VIP Cars Australia. Obviously you're not in the top 3, right? I'm not going to keep scrolling down too much because I don't want to waste too much time, but I have generated this quick heat map, right? So this heat map just shows you different locations on Google Maps and shows you your different rankings in these different locations, right? So it may be a little bit confusing, but essentially this is each of these grids that you see, or each of these circles that you see on the grid, about 5 kilometers apart, as you can see there, right? So essentially, I've used the keyword chauffeur. So if anyone was searching up chauffeur in these different locations, in these different circles, then it's just showing your rankings in those different locations. Now, this software that I use is called LeadSnap. LeadSnap only shows a maximum of 20 for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But it only shows a maximum of 20. So for all of these circles that you see that are red, completely red, and they're all showing 20, that means you're most likely ranked below 20th for all of them, right? So the most ideal scenario is getting your business ranked at least onto the first page, at least minimum. And the first page is the top 20, right? So every single page on Google Maps has 20 listings. Obviously, the chauffeur industry in Melbourne is very competitive. So I don't know, I don't know if we could actually guarantee top 3 rankings for chauffeur Melbourne, all of Melbourne within 90 days. It's definitely possible, but I prefer to guarantee less and over deliver, right? So I'm not going to guarantee we can get your business from where you are currently, which could be, I don't know, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe even 10th page. I don't know exactly where you are, but I'm not going to guarantee top 3 rankings for all of Melbourne within 90 days because I would rather under guarantee or under promise and over deliver. Right. So, but what I can guarantee is us to get you ranked in the top 3 for your suburb. So I don't know exactly where you are located, but for whatever suburb you are located in, we can definitely guarantee to get you in the top 3 within 90 days for that suburb. So instead of chauffeur Melbourne, if you're based in Frankston, for example, we could go chauffeur Frankston or chauffeur Clayton, for example, right? We can guarantee that. So now that you know the importance of ranking in the top 3 and you understand where you're currently ranking, I just want to outline, obviously, who's beating you. Obviously, as you can see, your main competitors in Melbourne would be, I would say, any of these sponsored posts, or you got Lux Chauffeurs Melbourne, then you got Melbourne Chauffeur Services, then you got iChauffeur Melbourne. As you can see, a lot of these businesses have been in business for a while. They've got 5-star reviews. This one has 381 reviews. This one only has 23, which is actually surprising. And then you've got 262. So it's going to be very hard for a business like yours with 0 reviews. I noticed that you guys have 0 reviews at all. It's going to be extremely, probably impossible for you guys to outrank a business with 300 plus reviews, right? So that would be your number one step. So I'm going to move into the 3 actionable steps that you can take to rank higher. Step 1 is simply just get more Google reviews, man. Like, I'm assuming you are getting business. I'm assuming you are serving customers. So just requesting more Google reviews in person. You could even print out like a little reminder, like a flyer. You can print out QR codes that people can scan when they're there in person. Or if you're collecting details, which I'm assuming you are, like contact details, emails, phone numbers, names, things like that, you can actually set up automated emails and SMS messages, like campaigns, where you're requesting those Google reviews. Now, I'm not going to explain how to do this. There's many different ways you can do this, but we do this for all the clients that we work with anyway. So if you did want to work with us, we would set all of that up for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can get more Google reviews, but that would be step number 1, just finding some ways to get more Google reviews. Step number 2, just by looking at your Google business profile, I noticed that you don't have any location at all registered on your Google business profile. So if I was trying to, get directions to your business, there are no directions. Like, you've got your website, you've got save, share, call. Yeah, okay, no, that's nice. But you need to have your directions button as well. Without your directions, Google algorithm is going to be very weak, right? So the Google algorithm wants to see where you are located, and it's going to start optimizing for people around that radius, right? So if you're like just, if you've got a broad service radius of all of Melbourne, that's fine. But if you don't have your actual like company location, like headquarters, then it's going to be very hard for Google to optimize the rankings for nearby areas, right? So if you're based in the CBD, if you have your directions as your, company address based in the CBD, you're going to most likely rank higher in the CBD and start, the rankings will start dropping off as you start expanding out, right? But you need to have your directions on there. So that would be step number 2, right? Step number 1 was getting more reviews. Step number 2 is just adding your directions, like adding your address to the Google business profile. Then step number 3, there's number 3, just by looking at your website, there's obviously a lot of things that we would change in your website. There's a lot of things we would just change in general on your website, on your Google business profile. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but essentially you need to make sure that your headline, so your header 1, like this thing here, is optimized. So like, instead of tailored transfers or professional journeys redefined, like this is just generic, broad stuff. Like, it's not explaining what you do or who you're doing it for or where you're doing it for. So your header 1, so this thing here, needs to be explaining exactly what you do, what you're selling, what you're servicing, and then where you're servicing it to, right? So it could be something simple like this: luxury chauffeur services in Melbourne. But, you can make it even more simple. You could say, trusted chauffeur in Melbourne, or Melbourne's most trusted chauffeur service, something like that, right? You need to make sure that your header 1 is super simple. It explains what you do and where you do it, right? That's all you need. Header 2 can be a little bit longer, as you've got here: transform your business travels with strategic intelligence, blah, 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 blah. It does sound like a little bit like AI. So I would try and change it up a little bit. And you still want to be adding those trust factors into your header 2. So in your little subheading, instead of just having all this AI generic stuff, you would have, your location, like where you're servicing, what you're servicing, like your keywords, and then also add the little trust factor in there. You could say trusted by locals all across Melbourne, or something like that, right? Or trusted by local business owners in Melbourne or around Melbourne, something like that, right? It's going to be a little bit longer than your header 1. So like I said at the start of the video, it's obviously, very important to rank in the top 3. I don't want to guarantee that we can get your business ranked in the top 3 for all of Melbourne within 90 days. Obviously, it's possible to do, but within the 90-day period, I just don't like, over-promising something, right? Especially because you guys are sitting very, very low right now. There's a lot of room for improvement with like reviews and engagement, things like that. It's definitely possible to do in the future, but I'm not going to guarantee that within 90 days. We can guarantee top 3 for your suburb. So if there's like a suburb that you do want to attract instead of all of Melbourne, we can guarantee to do that instead. And then, over time of like working with us, you'll eventually get up into that top 3 for all of Melbourne as well. So we do have a couple of different pricing options. We have a quarterly option and a monthly option, all right? So our quarterly option is 1K. So you pay 1K per quarter, and then we'll do this entire service for you. We'll take control of your website, make sure everything's optimized on your website, on your Google business profile. We manage all that, get you more Google reviews, all that good stuff, right? We'll also set up your backlinks and citations. So we'll get your business registered on things like Yellow Pages, Local Search, Apple Maps, Bing Maps, Google Assistant, Siri, a bunch of other things like that. That's going to improve your Google rankings too. So yeah, We've got the quarterly option, so it's 1K or $400. $400 per month ends up being $1,200 in total every quarter. Or you can do the quarterly, which is just 1K, so you save about $200. All right. So if this does interest you, if you would like to work alongside of us, that's cool, awesome. Let me know. Reply back to the email with which pricing plan you want to go ahead with. And if you do have any questions, feel free to send them my way. And if you did find this helpful, even if you don't want to work with us, that's totally fine. We would greatly appreciate a nice Google review. I'm going to drop the link down below in the email. And yeah, looking forward to hearing your reply. Cheers, man.